You're never going to forget my face. You're never going to forget my name. You're never going to forget. And that's the final word today.
Thank God it's Friday. So I would just like to make this live broadcast in preparation for the coming songs. And, as the day job continues, as the rest of the workload is not, does not stop at any point in time. Diba? I just want to say thank you guys for those who have already shared my song and have let me know. I am doing my part also for the coming, for the whole album to come as under one label. That's yours truly. So,
or am I really lying here with you? Baby, you take me in your arms, and though I'm wide awake, I know my dream is coming true. I'll say goodbye to love. No one ever cared if I should live or die. I should live or die. I should live or die. I'll say goodbye to love. No one ever cared if I should live or die. Time and time again, the chance for love has passed me by, and all I know of love is out to live without it. I just can't seem to find it.
Hello, hi, once again, this is yours truly, Clarice, and today is the 16th of February, 2023. So it's a Thursday, and I don't know how it started, but usually with Thursday, it's Throwback Thursday. Now, this private joke, during that time, while it was a running joke shared within the family, since this is a Throwback Thursday, I would like to share it with you. Thank you for tuning in to my podcasts. How's your day with Clarice and this Clarice? Why so many name calling? Not in the name calling sense, but why do the titles? Why do the titles of my podcasts carry my name? For one thing, because it's quite funny how in the last years, I haven't heard that name so much as it is used to call me. It does, but not in a way that that is quite in keeping with my work and with maintaining my channels online. So yeah, there goes a car. So you'd see and you know that it's really a very busy neighborhood. So with such busy streets, you'd know that each household is crazy, hectic, and feverish. Anyway, going back to this long-running private joke that I could say that will set us apart, and that if I would be asked how our family is distinguished from other families, what would be that factor? And at 19 years of age, I brought home a guy that will be introduced here in Lucena City as my husband, and he would be during those days, as soon as the reality of our situation filtered in his consciousness, the truth had sink in. When it hit him, he was quite very lighthearted about it, and the bantering had been quite a relief for me, because he did not added his indignation and condemnation. Of course, he has nothing to he has his own set of imperfections, so that to have that, to be in the position to judge, or to judge us for this. So between me and my brother, whenever we receive this piece of paper, we'd tell my mother, "Aba mama, kalaban ka na naman ng Pilipinas," or nakikipag-away ka na naman sa mga sa buong Pilipinas, because it's what the literal meaning of people of the Philippines. So it's on account of the summon regarding Mama's case that had been filed at the Fiscal's Office, the Department of Justice. And usually, there had been civil cases as well as criminal cases, where my mother had been the plaintiff, and either the complainant or the respondent. And so my husband, while we were still a couple, finally would say, "Aba, hindi biro kalabanin ng buong Pilipinas, sabihin mo sa mama mo." Of course, translation, it's no joking matter to have the people of the Philippines at the other end of at the opposite side of a conflict. Of course, it's funnier when it was being spontaneous, while we were in the middle of those situations. As I recount it now, it comes off as dry and not funny at all. Well, anyway, fresh from college, from graduation, we get married here in Lucena City, and I was just 19 years old. After some time, the difference in our family background had become a reality in our early marriage, or in our early marriage, and in the early years of our living together as a couple. So those banterings, those light-hearted moments with a grain of truth. It's his way, of course, allowing time for this knowledge to sink in with regards to family. He was married straight from college. So I was 19 years old at that time, and contrary to some controversies, he was the first boyfriend, the first man, and that I should say the first man I married, but that will not be accurate, because we are still bound by the institutionality of that marriage. So he was the first man. He was the only man. He is the biological father of my daughters, and whatever had circulated in the middle of my record consolidation and the twists and turns that for some time I had to ride for a while for my personal reasons, because I really thought that, it will blow up, or into the open, and that I would have my say finally in the matter. Well, that's for another episode. Anyway, nowadays I realize that it's not supposed to be Victoria's Secret when a person fills up any form to state for the record what the person's civil status is. Oh, see, even what time is it? It's nighttime, and this is the only time that I have for myself nowadays. So even at the late hour of the evening, our street is still occupied, and it's still a busy street, unfortunately. Well, anyway, I'm digressing. So whenever I fill up an application or an important questionnaire, I cannot remember any one-page form where the civil status is not asked, and I cannot also recall when, because they go together whenever there's a box to be filled by a check or any kind of marking, and it's a multiple choice between being single, being married, separated, or divorced or annulled, and then it is followed by the name of the husband. Well, the more serious the document, the more serious the culpability in providing inaccurate answer, and of course there's always a chance that it will not be found out, or for some kind of convenience, just to avoid the discomfort or the inconvenience, if it's a loan wherein the conforme of a husband is needed. Probably the thought will cross my mind, and then when I began the consolidation work, the more serious correction of my records, I realized that it's a sink or swim kind of thing. That is the stake. Should I be truthful 100%, or give half truths, or be selective in the kind of documents and the facts that I will supply as my answer, as my identification? Well, okay, these questionnaires, I refer to the straightforward questions where the blank space is allotted exclusively for one checked box and one space for one name, and is not providing enough space to include volume 1 and volume 2 of the greater good and good intention justification on why it is not the lawful husband's name on that blank space, which is asking for his name. Volume 1 being who will benefit, and volume 2, how come the correct narration of true facts will not serve the greater good. So it's a straightforward question and answer. Check the box that's accurate and provide the name of the spouse, and yeah, that's just about it. In as much as there are contending narratives that I am supposed to be part of all of them, for myself, I should choose one, and you know, um, that's it. So back to the story. And then the shocking discovery eventually wore off when it became easier to adjust to the reality rather than live in denial, for better or for worse, right? That our name would be represented by my mother in some rather scandalous court cases because an order was issued uh, with regards to the person of Clearning M Talaga. And throughout those never-ending cycles, none had added to the spark by adding the personal drama, because as it was, we were already a house filled with unlighted grenades and dynamites. Figuratively speaking, of course, I add this qualifying phrase only after suffering the consequences of not specifying the figurative language that should be included in the assessment of my perceived meaning and perceived intents behind the statements, the jokes, the anecdotes that I share. Those kinds of things were quite a great deal before 2003, of course. And then afterwards, I had learned to be more circumspect in my words. And yeah. So at that time, we could not afford not to stick to facts because our family name was how my mother's name was known and recognized, as in not just one, but many open proceedings and many public cases. And I rely on picture words to, I rely on picture words to convey how it had affected us, who were her next of kin, as we were living under one roof, or at least the most affected persons, because we weren't always living under the same roof, because we moved from one house to another house, which were all properties of my mother at that time. And so nonetheless, whenever we stay with my mother overnight or for the weekends, we could not avoid discussing those cases. So I'm talking about the kind of stress or pressure that can crack up the weak spots, undermining pretensions, bursting bubbles of denial that come after a successful secret pact, diba, to keep a lid on its real impact. So if it's intentionally put in place, like, okay, we will not be discussing this, we will not be, the people who are privy about this, come on. Public documents, people of the Philippines versus Clearning Talaga. Of course, her sisters would know. The friends of the family would know. Everyone will know. And this is just small a small city, a small community, and we know each other, if not of each other. And my father has a political job before he got to be an elected official. And so, of course, there's no use pretending that it's not happening, that there had not been resulting conflict within the family, because my mother when she had chosen the courses of actions and made decisions about it, she really made, the whole 9 yards. And she was quite stubborn about it. Life is real, and it doesn't just happen behind secret pacts or oath of secrecy. We're not going to discuss this. It's going to be a taboo subject. I don't think, I think it would have, looking back, in that aspect, when my mother had made those decisions, rather than avoiding the topics, I would hear her recount about it, discuss it with her friends. Oh, how can I not, how can I not go to court with this when this had happened, So it was an open conversation between her and her friends, and that I was quite embarrassed because some of my friends, she would explain herself to them, diba? And they would just politely smile about it. And um, it was it reached a point where it's not so shocking anymore because the shock factor, oh, come on, it became accepted as sick learning kasi ganyan kasi siya, that's her character. And so on to the next shocking local news, and she was not the boss, she was not, rather than, be secretive about it, it could have lasted, the notoriety and the scandal would have been simmering had she acted like a dual person. Ad nausea, the people, just, let her have her days in court, or let her run the full course or until the judgment. So, because she really believed in her case. So, what is relevant now is that as I refer to the husband and to the conversations that had truthfully taken place, and this in light of the privileged information shared between legal spouses and how the rules change if this matter is heard in the family court. And then there's the marriage bans, the announcement of impending marriage in Catholic Church. So all these had become, public knowledge that if something had gone awry, that would belie the marriage bans, that in fact hindi naman natuloy. I had my high school friends who didn't know that I was getting married because I was 19 years old. So they were quite shocked, and they had heard it when the announcement was made in the church. And I had known this later on. We knew that you were getting married because it was announced. The marriage bans, I don't know how it's called in Tagalog, basta merong the announcement that for everyone's knowledge, information, the couple Clarissa Talaga and this man will be married, will be the marriage ceremony will take place, yan, mga ganon. So siguro maybe it's out in the open for any objection, like it had happened before the marriage advisory, where in the statistics office, some job applications are requiring the marriage advisory so that it will reflect how many marriages, even though divorce is not allowed, probably because becoming a widow, so the second marriage, and these statistics will reflect the number of marriage and the person, diba? So if this did not happen, I should also make it a public knowledge for my schoolmates in Quezon High who had heard about it and who had mentioned learning the circumstance of learning about my marriage. So who is the he as the husband who had to pitch in to so many conversations in the past, and who also became a topic of our family conversations, as I had been a topic in his family. So who is the he whose physical presence was legitimized by a piece of documents signed by some prominent personalities here in the province of Quezon? Since then, the capability and competency of various personalities, including mine, had been questioned because they are the key to how a legal position will be represented and defended in and out of court. So that's how that's down the line. And as I had been educated by the experiences of others and by some channels that teach the practical side of the law, because ignorance of the law excuses no one, and that even though lawyers and officers of the court have technical knowledge about the proceedings and due processes, but they really serve the whole citizenry. The whole thing, of course, is meant to be for the benefit of the citizens, of the citizenry. And so the practical side and the application of the law, they're really for us laymen. Diba? And what's going to happen in the days to come would be a very good window. And I would like to invite all of you to tune in, because the practical consideration would anyone can relate to the practical consideration of having a family, of having a conflict resolution, of being part of a community. And it's not everyday harmonious relationship, and that going to court doesn't mean that you're quarreling, or it's just in my mother's case, more often than not, it was a place for the parties to thresh out the differences and the legal position. I didn't see my mother being hysterical about it, or just like the drama in the movies. But it was more like, di ba sabi mo, you said this and done that, so you compare, you refresh each other's memories, and that's a place that assisted by people who are meant to provide the objective perspective about it. So yeah, till here, because it's running late and it has been a long day. Thursday, yeah. I couldn't do much because, oh gosh, we're all feeling under the weather, cough and cold. Hopefully tomorrow will be a better day. So for now, bye. And see you on, please tune in to my next releases, my music. I think it's going to be a song from the Philippines. And yeah, bye.